Okay, big lovers, let's start loving on our family. I'm so excited to be doing this with you again. It's year number 10. So today we're going to make some super delicious wow chicken. All right, it's going to be ready for dinner for night 1. Now for this meat recipe, we're going to buy some bone-in chicken. Look at that price. I got mine for $3 at the Polish grocery store, and then they gave me 20% off. Wow, it's even from, it says product of the USA. So we're gonna use an entire chicken plus an extra breast for this recipe. We're gonna use a Dutch oven. I love mine, got it at Goodwill for $14. We're gonna use some butter. All right, we're gonna start this recipe with butter, salt, pepper, garlic, just like we like to start all of our recipes, okay? So I have my butter in the pan. I probably used 1 tablespoon to get this started. All right, I'm gonna move my vegetables out of the way. All right, here they are over here now. All right, it's really important to cook with love in your heart. All right, so we are trying to produce some super delicious, super loving food here. So I really do encourage you that if you have a nice bottle of wine, go ahead and open that up and enjoy that while you're cooking. Okay, my butter is starting to melt, so I have a moment, and I'm gonna go ahead and open this bottle of wine. I'm not a big wine drinker, but I wanna remind you, mamas and papas and sisters and brothers and grandmas, be good to yourself in this process, all right? 14 days of love is not a performance race, all right? It's a race, if anything, toward more goodness in our home and more love in our hearts for our family. And what's gonna happen is that our family will pick that up and they'll start to live that out in their life, and they'll start to share that generosity with others. So it's really important as you're doing 14 days of love, to be good to yourself. Don't run yourself in the ground. Day 1 is yummy love. Today is actually January 31. This is the night before. I went grocery shopping today. I bought so many delicious things. I can't wait to work on all of this with you. But I'm gonna start out by being good to me, because I wanna make sure to remind you to do the same. So get yourself a nice bottle of wine. This is a Black Label Clarinet. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon. It's Francis Coppola Diamond Collection. So get yourself a beautiful glass and enjoy pampering yourself while you pamper your family. And everything we do with intention, and we're gonna bake love into all of our recipes. So cheers. Cheers. Let me take a sip of this. Oh yeah, that's red wine, all right. I'm really not a wine drinker. Another option is if you have something else that you like to drink, I would encourage you to put that in a super beautiful glass as well. Take this off this fire just for a moment so it doesn't burn. Yeah, I found this glass at Goodwill. Look at how pretty that is. It's like an ornate one from the olden days. So if you prefer to do this, cheers. Wow, I am not a drinker. Wow, I think I'd rather have a juice or a water. Okay, so we start out by melting our butter. All right, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut up our vegetables before we get going. Let me move this off camera. Just wanna remind you to be good to yourself. This is not a performance race. This is an exercise in self-love that overflows to your family. All right, so we're gonna work with 1 onion. We like to start almost all of our meals like this. Not every meal, but many meals. All right, we start them with butter, onion, garlic, salt, and pepper. Okay, so what we do is it's real easy. Peel your onion, cut it in pieces, careful. Be careful with yourself. Don't hurt yourself. Don't do these things fast. 14 Days of Love is meant to be a self-love as much as anything else. Okay, so you're going to get your onion looking really good. This is our basil. We'll be using that in a little bit. Cut up the whole onion. Don't want any of the shell in our recipe. I'm going to cut up the second one now, the second half. All right, being careful with your beautiful fingers. Just turn it and hold it and dice that onion, okay? Now, I have been told that I like my vegetables chunky, all right? My mom likes to cut things up much more fine than this. I don't mind chunky because I really appreciate the onion, all right? So I don't mind the chunky. A lot of this is going to cook down, but we're going to go ahead and put our onion into our butter. All right, it's going to start getting nice and brown. All right. I love you, a bushel and a peck, and a hug around the neck, a hug around the neck, and a barrel and a heap, and I'm talking in my sleep about you. About you. You bet your birdie neck I do. I'm trying to change octaves because I'm squeaking. Let's try to do it again. Sing it with me, all right? Do you know this song? Sing it with me. I love you, a bushel and a peck, and a hug around the neck, and a barrel and a heap, and I'm talking in my sleep about you. About you. You bet your pretty neck I do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I do. All right, I have butter, onions, garlic. You hear how great that sounds? Now you know me. I'm going to use Celtic sea salt. What's unique about Celtic sea salt, you ask? Well, Celtic sea salt is made from dried ocean water. Okay, and so because it's coming from the ocean, it actually has so many healthy mineral properties that regular blue bottle table salt doesn't have. All right, so you want to make sure that you get the magnesium and the potassium from your Celtic sea salt, because why not? All right, so what we have here now is the base to something super delicious. Look at this. All right, ooh, that's hot. Where is my hot pad? Be good to yourself. Don't burn yourself. Be good to yourself, loved ones. Let's see, let's turn the camera like this, okay? Be good to yourself, all right? I love the idea of you singing while you work. Taking a sip of your favorite drink. This is not my favorite drink. I just got it going to benefit you. Red wine has some good properties in it that are actually beneficial to the body. Some terpenes and resveratrol. I think I'm saying that right. Resveratrol. That is very good for your blood, your brain, and your longevity. Okay, so I am working in my Dutch oven pretty close to high. All right, I'm at a medium to high heat. My onions are already turning translucent. Can you see that? Okay, so I am going to start cutting up my basil. Now, anytime you add basil or thyme or rosemary to your food, it really adds a dimension of delicious. Okay, so the way you work with basil is you cut off the stems, not using the stem. You see that stem? Not using that. Okay, just using the leaves. So step one, cut the leaves away from the stem. Put the leaves in one part, put the stem in the garbage pile. I love the idea of a junk bowl. I guess I'm using this little garlic jar as my junk bowl. Okay. And basil is a beautiful, delicious plant. Beautiful, easy to grow plant. I have one in my green room. You don't even have to use your knife. You could just pull the stem away discard. So what you're left with here are a bunch of leaves, all right? And then you're just going to kind of gather them together like so. And cut them long ways. Gather them again. Gathering, gathering, gathering. Cut them the other way, okay? All right, gathering, gathering. Just kind of like rolling them together, pinching them together, and cutting. Okay. So now I just have these really small, but not, you know, not tiny, but really small pieces of basil. And I wish you could smell it. It smells amazing. So you're going to go ahead and put that right on your onion and garlic. Put it right on there. Now immediately the kitchen smells phenomenal. All right. Phenomenal. You know, if you know a joke, tell yourself a joke or tell the person in the room with you a joke. I've got a Valentine's Day joke for you. All right, why is it better to be a tiger? Because they're not a lion. They're not lying. Kind of funny. All right. So now I have this delicious onion base. And to this, I'm going to add my chicken. Now, I like to work with chicken with bone and skin. It makes your meal so much more delicious. All right, so go ahead and open that up. You gotta make sure you're buying some really fresh, high quality ingredients. Okay, you don't want to be working with yucky chicken that you feel like you have to rinse. And personally, I don't like the boneless skinless for this recipe because I feel like the bones and the chicken and the skin add a lot to the recipe, okay? I'm just kind of pushing it into my pan. Whoops, don't do that. I'm just pushing this into my pan, kind of moving everything out of the way to make room. But every piece of chicken has a little bit of a bottom connection. All right, can you see that? All right. Now to this, we're gonna put a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of salt and pepper on top of this. And if you have garlic, go ahead and put garlic on top of this, right? Of course, wash your hands. If you work with raw meat at any point in your kitchen, please wash your hands. All right, just love yourself enough to not get sick. Don't contaminate the knobs on your stove or your turning utensil handle. And get your hands nice and clean, and then move on. There we go. All right. And I have clean hands. To be honest with you, when I'm cooking, I like to put my apron on. Do you do that? You cook with an apron on? It's nice. It's real nice. You know, if your hands get dirty, you can just wipe them on your apron. Wash your apron later. So let's go ahead and put some ground onion right on top of your chicken, along with salt and pepper. Okay. Again, I like to work with sea salt. All right, so make sure each chicken gets a little bit of salt. Why do we put salt on our food? Well, Gordon Ramsay taught me that if you don't salt your food, it just doesn't taste good. By the way, I use this black pepper. Okay, black pepper, like other spices, comes in different levels of quality and excellence. And I really like Dr. Watson's black pepper. Okay, they're apparently doing a really good job with it, and I like it most. Okay, so now, don't burn yourself, darling. Okay, now I've got this going on. It's looking real good. I'm pushing it down. I want there to be contact with the bottom. Okay, now make a note. This has raw chicken on it. Put it on your little spoon holder. Don't put that on your counter. Don't lose track of where that's been. It's very important to keep hygiene up in your kitchen. Well, that's my opinion anyways. Okay. This basil can be used for another day, all right? Boy, basil is one of my very favorite aromatic herbs. So, now what we're going to do is turn our chicken. Okay, I'm going to turn it so the skin side is down. It's not going to look as pretty for a picture. However, it really is going to cook delicious this way. Okay, we start the other way because we want to spice it, all right? So the spices are on that top side. And we're going to re-spice it on this side. Again, I'm putting this fork, which now has touched raw chicken, on my spoon dish. Okay. Not as pretty. Not as pretty, however. Now we have the top side down. So as this fat starts to cook, it's going to release like a liquid fat into your dish, and the meaty side of your chicken is going to be sitting in that really delicious animal fat. And a little bit more ground onion on there. So you can see that I like to cook with aromatic ingredients. Okay, now to help this cook along, we can go ahead and turn this down to medium. We can put our Dutch oven lid on. I'm going to tell you why I love this Dutch oven so much. If I were to cook dinner, say at 3:30 in the afternoon, and my husband's not going to come home until 5, but I have to leave the house, I can bring this Dutch oven up to temperature, and it's cast iron, so it holds its heat. The actual Dutch oven itself holds heat. And then I can lay my towels on top of this, and it will actually slow cook while I'm gone. So this is, the Dutch oven is just a wonderful utensil to have on in your kitchen. It is my very favorite pot to cook my dinners in. And I would encourage you that if you can get your hands on one, to do so. Maybe your grandma can pass one down to you. Maybe you can find it in Goodwill, like I did. I went ahead and put it on the website to buy them new. There are some gorgeous ones. You can just get these gorgeous Dutch ovens new, but they're like a couple $100. So if you're like me and you're just a simple girl and you don't have that money, see if you can find that at Goodwill. Every now and then, it's possible. Now, in a moment, we're going to pause our video, but what we can do while we're still talking is we can cut up our carrots. Now, notice something about the way I cut up my carrots. What do you notice? I don't peel them. Personally, I believe there's a lot of nutrition in the peel. So I don't peel them, okay? I'm not going to cut them really small either because I love vegetables. So I don't want them to become mush. I'm going to cut them into pieces about this big, okay? Yes, I washed them. No, I did not peel them. These are organic carrots, so I feel that there's a lot of nutrition in the peel. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that for my family. No, we're not going to add these carrots for a bit. We want our chicken to cook a little bit before we add our carrots. And toward the end, we're even going to add an heirloom tomato. Why would we put an heirloom tomato in our cooking dish? You might be asking yourself that question. Now, this heirloom tomato's got a little bit of wrinkle to it. It's not as new as it was in the beginning. I probably could still use this. This is in pretty good shape. But I just bought a bunch of new tomatoes that are brand new. So instead of wasting this tomato, and certainly if I had any wrinkly tomatoes that are ready, you know, maybe for the garbage, instead of wasting them, cut them up and put them in your cooked dishes. It adds a delicious watery component to your finished dishes for dinner. It adds nutrition and it adds color. All right, so over here we've got our carrots ready to go. All right, remember that song we were singing? I love you, a bushel and a peck, a bushel and a peck, and a hug around the neck, a hug around the neck, and a barrel and a heap, a barrel and a heap, and I'm talking in my sleep about you, about you. You bet your pretty neck I do. Do, 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 do. I do. Make sure you're singing while you're working. I think it's so powerful to cook with love and intention. I don't even like to eat people's food that are making it with hatred in their heart, or I know they were crabby while they were cooking. I think we bake food with our emotions a little bit. So I want to let everyone who comes to my home know that I sing while I prepare. I do it with love in my heart, and I'm baking love into your food. Hey, just like this little sign says, all things taste better with love. And isn't that what 14 Days of Love is all about? Loving more, sharing more goodness, and it starts with loving ourselves. So, you know, I think in the next video I'll be drinking cranberry juice or water with lemon. That's a little bit more my speed. I like spiced tea, but I cracked open a bottle of wine this time just to remind you, you know, be good to yourself while you're cooking for everyone else. Oh, red wine is intense. That's why I don't drink it very much. I do know that it's good for you though. So there's that. All right, so I'm gonna wait to cut up my tomato. All right, let's check on our chicken before I turn off the camera. How's that looking? Don't burn yourself, use your hot pads. Oh yes, so the fat from the chicken has begun to release its juices. All right, and we are no longer cooking on just onions and garlic. We are now cooking in chicken fat, which is why we want our bones and our skin in our dish, okay? See that liquid? I'm not sure if you can. Can you see that liquid? Wow, that's gonna be delicious. Now, if you're making a soup, you might even wanna add a little bit more liquid, prepare a little bit of chicken broth, but we're not doing that. We're gonna make a roast dish. So the idea here is that we would cook this low and slow. Now, you can finish cooking this on the stove top, or you can put this in the oven at 375. Both of them are good solutions, okay? So what should we do? Should we cook it on the stove top? Should we cook it in the oven? Leave a note in the comments what your thought is. What's the best way to cook delicious chicken? I think for today I'm going to leave it on my stove top just because it's fun. And I want to show you some other things that we're doing for 14 Days of Love. So I went to the store and I bought all these fruits and vegetables. Isn't that beautiful? All right. So I've got my strawberries, which we're going to make into roses. I've got my grape tomatoes, which we're going to cut in half and make into hearts. I've got my green tomatoes, my green grapes, and I'm going to cut those in half and turn them into green hearts. If you're like, what? I don't know how to do that. Take a look at 14 Days of Love. You're going to find, actually take a look at the 14 Days of Love Facebook group, and you're going to find a video link that says, watch this video. I think it's in the 14daysoflove.com getting started post. and it says, watch this video. Okay, it's not the yoga one, which is all about getting your heart right so that you can bless your family with love and intention. It says Thai trick or something like that on it. All right, and so it shows us how to turn simple tomatoes into hearts, simple grapes into hearts. It shows us how to make strawberries into roses. It even has a wonderful trick where it shows you how to turn a cucumber into a flower. So the cucumber is like the leaves, and then you have a flower on the top. I think those are tomatoes. Also in 14 Days of Love, we're writing jokes on all of our oranges. So we'll be doing that tonight too. And we like to write, you know, I crush on you kind of affirmations on our bananas, so that no matter which banana our loved one chooses, it talks about how we crush on them. We even have a video to show you how to turn a pineapple into a monkey using orange for the mouth. Using an orange for the mouth and watermelon for the ears, I think. And so take a look at that. All right. So all this deliciousness here was purchased for only one reason, and that is to bless our family in a profound way as we get ready to show them more love, which comes from inside of us. All right. So remember to love yourself, Mom, over the next 14 days. This is not a performance race. This is a reflection of our genuine gratitude that we have wonderful people in our families, at work, in our friend group, that we are truly grateful for. So we're going to create a gratitude jar. We're going to put gratitude statements in our gratitude jar every single day. And on Valentine's Day, when we sit down to dinner, we're going to pick them out one by one and read them to each other and smile. So 14 days of love, intention, purpose, and it's just plain old good old-fashioned fun. Here's my true drink that I like to drink. I like to drink tea. I like to have lemon water. Okay? And this blackberry currant tea right here, wow, this is a joy. I got this today, and boy, wow. Oh, it smells so good. I wish you could smell that. All right, so find things that you love so that as you're blessing others, you're also blessing yourself. And have a very good day, love.